So have a comfortable seat where you feel as if your sit bones have a perch underneath you. And there's a beautiful balance. So you might even want to move off the balance to notice the balance point of your pelvis. So you can kind of roll backward a moment on your toward your tail. You can roll forward toward your pubic bone and just kind of seesaw along the ridge of your pelvis for a moment to just notice where is center. Where do I find the most grounded support for the rest of my body, for my spine. And as you let that pendulum swing less and less and close your eyes and really sense, oh, that's where I like to sit upon. Um, when you find that, bring yourself into stillness there. And when that place of support opens up to you, see if you can broaden your breath to include your pelvis, to bring yourself into an awareness of a sense of grounding that comes just from having a good base, a good sense of support. All of us in our lives feel more grounded when we have support, when we have people around us that love us and support us, when we feel like our base is steady. So notice that just in your physical body here. Allow yourself to move fully into your breath. An inhale that's expansive. Try not to, tighten your breath as you lift into that inhale. And let the exhale expand you in the other way. What can you surrender? What can you release outward? Pay attention and notice the slow rhythm of your inhale and your exhale. And see if you can just let your mind um, latch on to the rhythmic flow of the breath. Feel your hands together at your heart. And just sit with this mudra for a moment to offer the intention of presence for yourself. And then whatever else is coming, whatever you're intending for your practice, for your day. Release your hands and let's find our way onto our back. All right, so as you stretch out on your mat, let's enjoy. There's such a gift in the simple act of lying down, kind of, a little teeny act of self care through your day to just have the simplicity of lying down. So take a moment before you stretch and move anything and let your body redistribute itself with gravity and with the ground. And now sense into the sense of grounding that you felt in your pelvis. Where is the feeling of that in your body now? You have so many multiple points of contact with the ground. So touch a few of them, wherever your attention is drawn to, and just see if you can melt and release into that grounding force. Try to experience the beauty of both a melting and also like gravity as a blanket upon you. and befriend the sensation of feeling grounded, of having energy around you that helps you ground. Gravity, a sense of deep weight of your body. Even let your breath be helpful in the grounding. A lot of times the only time we allow ourselves to lie down is when it's time for sleep. And it's really a different quality to lie down, especially on a harder surface like a floor, when there's no agenda for drifting off into sleep, but just to be present with the release of the body. To me, it's a subversive act sometimes to choose to just lie down instead of rush, instead of accomplish, do. This is a true gift to our nervous system. So notice the rise and fall of your breath. And then, if and when you're ready, you can stretch your arms overhead and start to feel a little more invigoration of your body. Okay, maybe stretch the right side and stretch the left side and welcome yourself into that long, spacious sides. All right, and then draw your knees into your chest and rock a little bit, maybe a little bit of swaying if that feels nice. All right, and then let's circle, rolling around in your hip joints, feeling a little circling of your knees. Other way. And, even though we do this all the time, notice your spine, notice your pelvis, notice your hips. All right, and then let's open up the knees away from the middle and bring them back toward. Just get this nice feeling of range of motion. And then right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground. And now get to invite some sensation into the ankles and the feet. And it's such a pleasure to move your feet around. At least that's my hope for you, is that it's a pleasure. Even if you have some aches and pains and toes or, something that hurts, mobility is such a gift. So let's revel in the mobility of all these joints in your ankles and feet. All right, and then change sides, left knee into your chest, right leg long on the ground. And again, feel free to explore the mobility of your feet. The gift. One of, I've done recently a lecture on helping the elderly or anyone who's um, physically a little weaker to learn how to get themselves up and down out of a chair and up and down out of the bed and keep that level of mobility. And one of the greatest muscle and the strength patterns that's required is in our shins and calves, that we need to have this flexibility to be able to flex and point and move our feet around. So, give yourself that treat of noticing your range of motion, your freedom, and your strength. Okay. Let's reach outward, lengthening through your limbs, wiggle your fingers and your toes. And then as you exhale, draw your knees into your chest and give yourself a hug. Twice more, expanding, open, feeling that expansive breath too. And then draw your knees in as you exhale and feel that compression. Put your feet on the ground, arms out to the side, and let's windshield wiper our knees left and right and start to explore a little movement in our hip joints and in our back. And then let's bring our right thigh over our left thigh and draw your knees toward your chest. feel a little openness through your hips and sense into the deep grounding weight of your head and your shoulders. Full breaths here. Release your legs, change the cross. Left thigh over right thigh. Draw knees in. Hold on to your shins somewhere. And feel the sit bones drop a little bit. So you get into those hip muscles a little bit. Feel your head get heavy. Notice gravity again. All right, and then stretch your limbs wide. Draw your knees into your chest. And let's roll to your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. So maybe starting to find some cat cows where we have a beautiful reach of our spine in its plane of flexion and extension. And how broad can you get? How much can you ripple those vertebrae? And it doesn't have to be your first pass. Let your first couple of passes of cat cow just be a welcoming of, oh, maybe I haven't moved my spine very much yet today. Let me just notice where it's available. And then after, I don't know, 3 or 4 passes through a cat cow, then start to find, well, can I stretch a little deeper? Can I open my heart a little bit more? Can I lift my tail just a fraction more? When I drop my tail, can I spread my shoulder blades and tuck my chin just a little bit more? And then let your body be free. Just move your spine however it wants to move. Might be some tail wags, could be some circling. You might move your head around or your shoulders. And again, what a gift to be mobile. Curl your toes under and just stretch back toward a high child's pose and just feel the spreading of all the fascia in the bottom of your feet. Open things up. Breathing well. And notice this may not feel comfortable. You might have an area of one or both feet where you're like, ooh, that's tight. So just pay attention, breathe, open up what you can. And come back, undo your toes, give them a smack on the ground. And let's find the twist we often do. Reach either arm up in the air, exhale, and drop that shoulder down. Breathe your way into your spine. Full inhale, full exhale. Let's lift that arm all the way back up in the air. Reach your hand back down onto the ground. Switching sides, arm up. Exhale, slide that arm underneath. Gaze toward the floor. Where can you find weight in your body now? Can you drop some weight into your knees? Can you drop some weight into your skull? And inhale, bring that arm all the way back up in the air. Hand comes down, back to a fuller child's pose. Let your feet just be normal. Stretch your arms overhead and drop some weight into the pelvis. Feel that deep compression in your hips and your knees. Open up along the spine. Let your body breathe in the back. Walk the hands to one side or the other and enjoy that opening of your lats and your ribs and your breath and your shoulder. And again, just try not to take mobility for granted. All the ways that your joints work, even if some of them don't work so well. The simplicity of being able to be mobile in your body is such a gift. So let's remember to not take it for granted and know that you are blessed right now being able to open your ribs in this way. Let's walk our hands back to the center.
Curl your toes under and let's lift to a dog pose. All right, so now we get to say hi to bigger muscle groups in our body, sense into your calves and your hamstrings, maybe a little bit of pedaling of your feet, and remembering, that deep range of the ankle joint matters. So notice your heel as it drops down toward the ground. See if you can flex into those ankle joints. And when you're ready to be still, let's yield. So just like we lie down on the ground and let our body yield, can you find where you're touching your hands and feet and yield, like putting your hands into sand that's sinking or whatever medium you want to visualize, but ground yourself. And remember the ebb and flow that we yield down, but we also expand out. We have that balance of yield and then push and reach. Feel the symmetry in your body as best as you can, even if things don't feel symmetrical, find it a little bit. Melt your skull and breathe. Walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana, a deep forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Let your head dangle. Relax your shoulders, wag your tail. And inhale for a halfway lift and get a little longer in the spine. Pause here in this half lift for a moment and let's pedal your feet just like in dog pose. Let's pedal them here. You can not only bend one knee, but if you want to drop the knee past the midline toward the other side to get a little bit of range of motion in those hips. And then with your hands on blocks, let's have a moment to feel your ankle joints again. So up onto your toes, drop back onto your heels and lift your toes and just kind of go back and forth and see if you can sense how much wakes up when you activate your feet in this way. It's so good for your lymph. It's so good for your nervous system. If you ever have one of those, wooden rollers that you can roll your feet on, such a gift to bring awareness and flexibility and mobility into your feet. All right, so then ground your feet, spread open the bones, bend your knees. We've been, halfway down for a while, so be slow on the way up. So if you get a little dizzy, take a little time. You can always cross one leg over and have a moment to squeeze toward the midline. Okay. All right, then pause in Tadasana. We're going to have just a moment to bounce. Okay. Also, a really good thing. I just recently acquired a hand-me-down mini trampoline, and I've been on it. And oh boy, it's so good for your body to jiggle it about. Okay, so you don't have to get off the floor. You don't have to jump to do this. Notice your spine. So the sense of grounding that we felt when we were lying down. Notice what happens when you bounce and the sensing of the spine itself and the way it finds the ground and releases away from the ground just by the art of bouncing. Also notice that your calves are probably getting a little awake, maybe a little fatigued. Again, that sense of building strength in the feet and calves. All right, and then pause and just notice your body. We have a sense of grounding standing, not just lying down or sitting. Big full breaths. Reach the arms all the way up in the air. Feel a sense of openness across your heart. Let's cactus open. Start to feel the upper body find its way. Maybe a couple times of arm swinging, cactus opening the arms and squeezing the back body. This last time, feel that expansion. Spread your hands, squeeze your shoulders. Then exhale and round in, forearms to touch. Let your back find a lot of space. Interlace your fingers, press your fists straight forward, and spread your shoulder blades apart. And inhale and lift them up. Fingers are still interlaced. Lift up, lengthen, open up through your chest, lean back a little bit. And then release your arms, exhale, and float forward. Inhale for a halfway lift, extending through the spine, getting long. Exhale and melt to fold. Okay, grab your two blocks. And we're going to, let me turn to the side. This is a little awkward. It's easier with flipping over a chair, which I think many of you have done with me in the past. But we're gonna take our feet and try to travel up the blocks. There's a little bit of balance needed in this, so you can always have a wall or a piece of furniture. So I'm trying to get my toes up on the blocks, as much of my foot up on the blocks as I can. And if you round here, just climb up a little bit so that you have a more capacity for a long spine. Open up the whole foot, spread your bones, stretch your knees back, lift your quads up. And then release your feet off the blocks. A halfway lift, sit bones high. Exhale, melt to full, bend your knees. Let's step back, dog pose. All right, so we've done a variety of things with our feet. Notice if it's making a difference in your dog pose at all. Ground. Feel the spreading of hands and feet. Feel the lift of your sit bones. Full breaths here. Yield, push, and reach. Let's come forward into a plank, holding a sense of steadiness. Ground yourself, shoulders away from the ears. Breathing deeply and well. Drop weight into the index finger mound. And then put your knees toward the ground and find the earth. Roll the shoulders a few times, so we're opening up here. Inhale for a cobra pose. Doesn't have to be big. Remember gentleness with your body as you expand and find mobility. Maybe a second time around, you want a different variation. Whatever feels right. Exhale. Melt to come back down. Come up onto all fours and wag your tail. Move your spine, a cat-cow or some circling or anything that feels really good. Curl your toes under, stretch back towards a child's pose. See if you can touch your big toes, touch your ankles. A lot of broadness here. All right, come to sit on your mat for a moment and bring your hands behind you. You can lean back a little bit if you want, if that's something that's more supportive for your spine. You can sit up on a blanket if you want. We're just going to do just a teeny bit more exercises with our feet. Sometimes I forget and get neglectful about these beautiful bottoms of our body that spend so much time touching the earth. Okay. All right, so we're going to point your toes strongly and then foint. And if you can't remember or have never heard me say that term before, a foint of the toe. Let's see if you can see my foot from the side. So a pointed toe, and then just flex your toes back to keep the rest of your foot pointed. That's a point. And then a full flex of bringing your toes toward your torso. Okay, so we'll point and then just flex your toes, but keep the rest of your foot pointing, and then flex your whole foot. Okay, so a point and a point, and a point and a flex, and a point and a point, and a point and a flex. All right, so just a few passes. See how much you can separate your toes. Can you get a little bit of articulation and mobility in your feet? And notice where you can't. Do you have some patterning where your toes are kind of stuck together, or it's hard to do one of these movements? All right, now take your feet a little bit wider than you might, just so you have room to move them. And let's do some big circles with your ankle joints. 2 or 3 passes, then go the other way. And just give your feet a nice little shake. Okay, come lie down on your ground, on your back. Grab a strap. So feel your knees come into your chest for a moment. Let's loosen your back up again. maybe even do a happy baby pose. So you just get that big opening across your low back. Let's rock a little bit if you want, just feeling some freedom here. And then we're gonna put our left foot on the ground and hold on to your right foot so that you have, a good grasp of it, and drop your right knee down toward the ground. So opening up your hip really well. And we're gonna straighten your leg and bring it back into that half happy baby pose. So you can start with a strap if you'd like. I think this is easier with the strap around your foot. We are going to move into Supta Padangusthasana in a moment. So wrap that strap and then drop your knee down and lift your foot straight up. Drop your knee down and lift your foot straight up. Okay. All right, and then hang out. You can have your left foot still on the ground with your knee bent, or you can straighten it. And we'll have a moment of doing the same thing we just did on the floor, but we're going to do it with our foot in the strap. So a point of the toe. Feel all that fascia on the top of your foot open up. And then a little moment of a point, and then a deep flex of your foot. And feel the openness through your calf. Drop your femur bone down. One more time. Point your toe. Notice if you want to internally or externally rotate. Try to stay neutral with your leg. Then a little bit of a point, and then a flex. All right, and then have some neutrality. Let's cross our right knee over to put it on our left knee, right foot on left knee, reverse pigeon pose. And then a little rocking if you like, so you can feel that mobility that we've been working in our feet kind of travel up into the hip joint. As we're in that external rotation in that right hip, see what kind of movement you can have in there. I like rocking left and right, but sometimes circling can feel good, whatever feels nice. All right, and then we'll release that. Keep the strap, lift that right leg straight back up in the air. Straighten your left leg if you want. We'll now do the more traditional Supta Padangusthasana. Shoulders away from the ears. Let's remember that first grounding posture that we did in the very beginning. So feel your body find its weight. Drop your right femur bone into the ground. Take the strap into the right hand, and let's open up the right leg out to the side. Feel a sense of grounding where there's a lot of weight in your head, a lot of weight in your shoulders, a lot of weight in your pelvis. Breathing deeply. Now, lift that leg straight back up in the air. Cross your right leg over to the left. And just go wherever your body says to go, however far into a twist, however much you want to drop your right hip away from your shoulder. Just find that space. Lift that leg straight back up in the air. Feel the rooting of your femur bone. Take 2 feet in the strap and notice, that you might feel different between your left and right. Let's have a moment of pointing our toes, flexing our toes. And then we'll take the strap in just around the left foot and put that right foot down, knee bent. All right, so hold on to the strap and let's do a little bit of a half happy baby pose. Dropping that knee down. You can hold on to your foot if you want. Keep the strap there, but you can also reach and just grab the sole of your foot. Feel a deep compression in that hip joint. Open it up. And then let's lift that leg straight back up again and do a few passes. You might be holding your foot, you might be holding the strap, whatever feels good. But we're moving into that deep flexion of the hip joint and then stretching it out. All right, and then come to Supta Padangusthasana on the side. You can straighten your right leg on the ground now if you want, or keep it bent. Allow your left hip to move away from your shoulder and ground through your femur bone. Have a moment to point, to flex. point. And just kind of move your foot through the paces of those 3 ranges of motion. Relax your shoulders, let your head feel that yielding. All right, so relax your foot now into either a flexed or a neutral territory. Hip down. We'll take the strap into the left hand and open your left leg out to the left. Ground your body. Feel where your body can root into the earth and feel that sense of surrender. Opening up through your hips. Breathing well. Lift that leg back up in the air. Let's cross the leg over, go as far or not far as you'd like. Listening through the spine, feeling your hip move away from the shoulder and invigoration through your legs, stretched all the way through to your foot. And then lift that leg back up in the air. Let's take your 2 feet in the strap. Last little bit here we'll do with the feet. So flex your toes, point your toes, point your toes, and just enjoy your feet. All right, take the strap off. Keep your legs up for a moment. Start to engage through your core. You can have your arms overhead or out to the side or down at your sides. Femur bones drop. Feel your ribs knit toward the ground. And then slowly lower your legs down toward the ground. You can bend your knees at any moment. And once you are down, roll to your side and let's come up to your hands and your knees. All right, so start moving through some cat-cows when you're ready. So we have this sense of reawakening the full spine. Oh, we forgot to do reverse pigeon pose. Come back onto your back. Sorry, everybody. Come back onto your back. Take your left foot on your right knee and come into reverse pigeon pose on this side. So feel that deep grounding of your head again. Relax the shoulders. Open up through that left hip. If you want to rock a little bit, great. If you are a person that really enjoys stillness, that's, most of the time that's what we do. So just find what it is that you like, what opens up your hip most. And then as you're ready, let's roll to your side and come up to your hands and your knees. All right, wag your tail. Start to feel all this freedom that we've been getting in our feet and our legs. Let's find it in our spine. Curl the toes under and lift yourself up into a dog pose, feeling that extension. And take a moment to really find the openness of this pose. Maybe your heels want to drop way down. Notice if you have more available there than you normally do. Feel the groundedness of your hands. And remember, when you feel the deep yielding, you also can find the deep reaching. Yield and then push off to give length and space to the body. Walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. Feel that openness across your spine. Inhale for a halfway lift. Growing a little longer. Let's pedal your feet again here. Finding breath. Okay, drop down into a deep forward fold again. Push off your feet, rising up, coming into Tadasana, arms up overhead, reaching and extending. And then bring your arms back down. Have another little moment of some bouncing. See if you can feel your feet. All this awareness that we've gotten into our feet. Notice what it's given you. A sense of ground. Feel your spine receive the ground. Can you feel that impact? All right, relax. Inhale, arms coming up to the sky. Exhale, hands float forward. A halfway lift. Let's step back with your left foot, find a lunge. Open up through your heart. Let's go ahead and bend and straighten the knee. And as you straighten your leg, flex your toes toward your face, drop your chin toward your chest, and then come back to a lunge. So not only are we, working with opening the fascia and the muscles and the joints, but your sciatic nerve gets a good stretch when you do this as well. Round yourself. Feel your lunge now. Root down and come up. Crescent lunge. Arms to the sky. Find your breath. Extension. Open your heart. And release your hands down. Back foot comes forward. Fold deeply. A halfway lift. Notice your body getting a little looser, a little warmer, a little more free. Melt, fold. Step your other foot back. Right foot is back, left foot is in front. Find your lunge. When you're ready, start to move. Feel free to lift up your toes and tuck your chin as you straighten that front leg. Of course, that's not necessary. Just find what's available today. Breathing deeply. Staying connected to your breath. You feel ready, ground your legs. Push it off to rise up to a crescent lunge. Arms coming to the sky. Find the deep roots of your legs. Root down to rise up. Can you find a sense of grounding just through your feet now? Are you a little more connected? Do your feet have more purchase? Release your hands down to the ground, dog pose. Open up through your feet, spread through your hands and your feet. Feel the yield and the push. Then come forward into a plank and hold yourself steady. Shoulders away from the ears, integrating the center. Hug to the midline. Feel the groundedness of your index finger mounds. And find the earth. Roll the shoulders a couple of times here. Inhale for a cobra, let your spine open. Exhale, melting back down. Curl your toes under. Find your way back to a dog pose. Full spine. Big breaths. Walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. Is your body starting to feel open? Inhale for a halfway lift. Fold again. Turn yourself sideways on your mat, wide legs. Turn your toes out, elbows inside your knees, drop to a squat, open up those inner thighs. Maybe a little bit of rocking here. Round through your legs. Inhale, come all the way up to stand, reaching a standing star. Let's find our way through some goddess poses. Now, remember the vayus of the body. If you're at all dizzy, pause. Wait until your body the equilibrium comes. But remember that sense of the vayus where we're dropping energy down. Feel your feet, spread your bones apart. And inhale and come back up. Move slowly with your breath. Obviously, we're waking up a lot of musculature in our hips and in our legs, but pay attention to everything we've done already to help you feel that sense of groundedness. Find your breath. One more time. Wherever you are in this cycle, feel the drop. Open up your feet, spread them down. Inhale to come all the way back up. Pause here for a moment. We are going to come and stay in a squat for a moment. A deep squat, a wide squat. But first, just sense your ground here. How are your feet? Are they crumpled? Can you spread them out? And then when you're ready, come down. And remember, down could be just 1 inch. You don't have to go super deep into this pose. You can, but anywhere along the path where you feel like you can self-manage your heart lifting, that you're not having to lean over. And then you can find the groundedness of the 4 points of your feet. Spread the bones. And then not only press your bones into the ground, but can you melt a little bit deeper into that sense of yield and ground? I've noticed that the ground has you. Lift your crown, lift your heart, open your shoulders. Notice that the ground's got you. Full breaths here. And stand up straight, reaching to a standing star. Let's turn your right foot out now and find a Parsva So as your elbow comes onto your knee and you stretch your arm overhead, can you feel your ground in this pose? Spread open the bones of your feet and feel how much purchase you have. Like, are you supported by your feet? Can you spread them? Can you ground them? Can you give weight into the lower body so that you can expand and reach through your upper body? Yep. Let's turn our feet the other way. So left foot is turned out now, your right foot is grounded. It can be straight or turned in a little bit, whatever feels right. Elbow on your knee and stretch your arm over your head. So we're grounding, feeling some deep roots. Feel that extension and length in the body. Let your neck and shoulders feel at ease. And as you drop weight into your feet, sense them. Spread open the bones of your feet and feel how much support your feet give you. Push through your feet. Come all the way back. Heel toe your feet in until you can comfortably bring your legs to a Tadasana. And then one more time, once you get to the center, bounce a little bit. And just let your spine receive. This doesn't have to be a big thing. You can, if you want, turn it into a very big bounce and a very big, you can even jump and do some, plyometrics, but just simple bouncing can give you a deep sense of comfort with the earth. Notice your feet, unlock your knees, feel the rebound through your spine. Can you notice the bounce through your discs and how good this is for your discs to get this kind of feedback? One of the things I also learned in this um, training I did about helping older people get up is that one of the best things we can do is when we're younger, when we're not infirm and elderly, is when we come into a chair to not rely on our hands to push us up, to cross our hands and to do, a few rounds of just being able to sit and then stand. So we can do this without a chair. We're going to do this with some chair poses. So cross your hands, just so you have a new feeling. Often we do this with our hands together, our arms overhead. Just cross your hands to your shoulders. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, ground your feet. Notice all the bones of your feet. Okay? And we're going to sit back in our imaginary chair. And then we're going to come up and push all the way up onto our toes. So a lot of balance work too. Drop into your heels, sit in your imaginary chair. Notice if you have a joint that rejects the option of this, if you have lean into one knee or the other, or if one hip doesn't want to bend or one ankle. So just notice where you might have a little discrepancy that you need to work on strengthening or figuring out why that pattern's there in your body. All the way up onto your toes. We've focused today on the lower chain of this, the feet, but notice your hamstrings, notice your glutes, notice your core, Notice your pelvic floor. Notice your hip flexors. Notice your quads. I mean, this action of being able to get up out of a chair and get yourself back into a chair requires so many different muscles to be harmonizing together. So let's marvel at this beautiful sequence that our body can do. All right, this last one, let's hang out for a moment. So you can always put a block between your knees if you need to. You can uncross your arms and reach to a full chair. And of course, arms could be anywhere. Anywhere you want. Drop into your heels. Feel that isometric contraction of all your leg muscles. Engage your core. Relax your neck. Slow mo. Post yourself straight all the way up onto your toes. And then heels back down, arms down at your sides. Pause for a moment. And let's bounce. One more time. Feel that effect. See if you can close your eyes and really pay attention to the effect in your spine. Notice your feet are responding to the ground. Unlock your knees. Reach your arms up. One more pass through of vinyasa. Exhale, let's float forward. Inhale for a halfway lift. Relax again, step back to a dog pose. Take your legs maybe wide if you want, or narrow or neutral. What do you feel? Yield and push and reach. Come forward into a plank. Let's lower to the ground. Any back bend that you want, open up. Exhale and relax. Up onto all fours, and let's move the spine around. Any kind of movement that you want to do here. Could be some circling, could be some swing, could be some cat cows. And then let's all find our way, when you're ready, into a child's pose. You can put your knees where you like, your arms where you like. Out of there and come onto your back. All right, bring your knees to your chest. A little bit of rocking. And then put your feet down onto the ground. Arms out to the side. Let's take a full twist. Hips over to the right. Knees come up and drop to the left. Take a moment to enjoy twisting open through your spine. Breathing deeply. And back to center. Scoot your hips over to the left. Knees come up and drop right. Come back to center. Put your spine neutral on the ground. Bend your knees. Place your feet on the ground. have a moment to let your feet ground in this position. Feel the earth, let the sensitivity of the soles of your feet light up. Feel the texture of your mat. Feel the softness of your mat, followed by the hardness of the floor underneath it. And if you need a last little something before Shavasana, you go ahead and take whatever your body needs. Any type of pose that your body needs to kind of settle. And then remember, of course, that when we go into Shavasana, you can have support anywhere you want. As always, make sure you're warm, make sure you don't have bright lights on you, make sure there's nothing weird touching you. Give yourself over to the deep surrender of this pose. And remember, when you get here, take your time, but when you get here, how lovely it is to have a moment in your day where nothing is needed of you. There's nothing to do. We can teach ourselves to just be. So allow your head to rest, let your shoulders rest. Breathe deeply and fully. ready, you can start to bring your awareness back to the room, to the feeling of weightedness in your body. Bring yourself into a deeper, fuller breath. And invite any movement that feels good, little movements, big movements.
Slowly we'll find our way to our side. Pause on your side for a moment to just feel that nurturing nature curling to a ball and resting on the ground. Slowly push yourself upright to a full seat. Bring your hands together at your heart. Let's offer the gifts of our practice. Any time you spend time in presence with yourself, there's a renewal. Have something we can offer. So put yourself into that space of bringing out your love and your care for another. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.